Roger. Copy that.
Welcome everybody, welcome, I hope you are all well, to another Sigma Prepper live SHTF Scenarios for 2022 going on 2023 with all sorts going on tonight. I thought I'd just come and say hello and we'll get together. So we're in the coffee shop tonight, please join us, get your comfies on because it's definitely winter time, so I'm feeling the cold. I'm sure you all are too, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to you everywhere. So I was just having a little bit of an ish in the background. I might be able to get it sorted out, but I've got that funny thing going on where it can't seem to decide. It's not got the right font going on for the chat window. I'm trying to get it fixed. Don't worry. That's the plan. To get it fixed, so do bear with me and I shall try and get it working. Yes. Oh no, it's still doing some funny business. Right, okay, we're nearly there. The problem I've got, hold on, is being able to show people's chat. So thank you to everybody who's joined in with tonight's poll. So we've had a poll going in the chat, so please get into that now and do it if you haven't done already. Reason being is because I think we don't have a clear winner yet. So get your answers in the poll, which is basically what do you fear in 2023 is tonight's poll. What do you fear in 2023? And the options are global recession, grid down and blackouts, major global conflict, or food shortages. Global recession, grid down and blackouts, major global conflict, or food shortages. So let us know in the polls in the chat right now. You'll need to be subscribed to be in the chat tonight. It seems to be the best way to, keep it. So thank you everyone being with us. Get your answers in the poll. I think we've had 19 votes so far. 19 votes. So what have we got today? I don't know. I'm doing things a little bit differently because we're using I thought we would shake it up a bit in the cafe rather than being all gnarly and stuff, right? Was the idea. The other thing I need to do just quickly is sort the chat window out because, again, you'll see what I mean in a second. And it was just as I was going live, just typical. It might be usable. It might be usable. Thank you so very much, Danger Bob in the house. Great to see you. Thank you to all of our VIPs. It's been real tough month or two, and Sigma Prepper's really struggling to get off the ground, but we're working hard on it. And I've got a great video coming with my optimizations and modifications of the Chinese diesel heater. I just need to do the final editing on it. I got literally turned it on for the first time about 24 hours ago. And it ran for 20 hours constantly, absolutely fine. So you'll be happy to hear that the diesel heater is absolutely rocking. So thank you to everybody who's contributed to the channel and helped to make that happen. And couldn't be warm without it. And I tell you what, first impressions, I've done a little bit of hokey pokey with the Chinese diesel heater. I've made a few modifications, but even despite that, I think they're absolute great value for money. For like $150, you know, great amount of heat, pretty efficient with diesel, and you know, I would say diesel's pretty easy to get hold of, but that might not be the case for too long. Perps in the house. Is proper cold tonight, isn't it just? Isn't it just? Very cold, and it's like went to minus, and I even smashed my... Cheers everybody, by the way. Thank you so much everyone for being with me. None of my devices have given me any notifications that I'm live, so I don't blame those that aren't here for not being here. So thank you everyone. Let's see if we can get his font sorted out. Who else we got in the house? Let's start at the top, shall we? Urban Harvesting, as far as I can go up, and Urban Harvesting met up with Carolyn, so it's great that we've been able to you know, allow people to make friends on this channel, and loads of friends have been made through Sigma Prepper and my channel and stuff. I think it's brilliant. A few people have met up and things in the background, and other people talk behind the scenes and help each other with their ish and with their survival and preparedness efforts. Robert McNamara in the house. Ghost Cowboy. What an absolute wonderful bunch you are. Carolyn Rose, talking of which. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you guys got on when you went out. Sandy in the house. Thank you for being here, my darling. I hope you've had a great day. Robert McNamara will be now getting our Andy fix. Howdy, Netrum Design in the house. And bear in mind, we'll be doing a Sigma Prepper Discord after party for the VIPs tonight. Looking forward to that. Daily Survival, great to see you. Eva as well here with us tonight. Thank you for being with us. All at Connie Richards and Extreme Focus, the Ultra VIP. Who else have I missed? Probably loads, but Perps, lovely to see you. And do you know what? I'm starting to think that we should actually be hibernating in the winter time. I think humans were originally designed to hibernate. That's what I think. Yeah, so it went to -1 degrees and it was icy on my ramp. And I slipped and had a fall. I had a fall yesterday, I'll have you know. And it went bosh, smashed my mug, my iPad, landed on the concrete, sunny side down. However, fortunately, I did have my super chunky iPad case. So it was spared. But wow. And my back has not been the same since all day. So poor me. What am I looking for? Extension options, that's it. Yeah, so bit of a nightmare. Smashed my mug, nearly smashed my iPad, but got away with it. But yeah, ultimately not a good look since. Here we go. Let's give it another. I refuse to give up, so I'm trying to see if I can get this font fixed. I know it sounds funny worrying about a font, but that's a no. Oh, unbelievable. It's so annoying because I need to be able to show people's what's going on in the chat. It's because I use a non-standard font, you see. And yeah. It appears that the browser doesn't like it. The Brave browser, which I have to use for the way I do the streaming, it really doesn't like at all. Oh, amazing. It's alright, we'll all get sorted. It just really doesn't like me doing that font. So let's try that. Sorry. So what we've got going on tonight then is we're going to be waiting until you've done the poll. So do hurry up and do the poll, and we'll be calling the results on that. What do you fear most for 2023? There's quite a few. There's a few options to choose from. So you've got global recession, grid down and blackouts, major global conflict, or food shortages. And I think what we'll be doing is having doing an SHTF Intel, just a brief one. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that we're concerned about going on leading into 2023 and what we feel like we can expect going forward or going backwards. Going backwards, I think. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so already. That would be a great help, thank you. And let's just see if we can get it rolling. No. Okay, well at least I know it's just not going to play ball then. And I shan't need to worry myself too much anymore. So at least let's try and put it back to how it was, because this is totally unusable. So yes, here we go. God, it's so devastatingly annoying, but I shan't let it ruin my day any more than it already has. Hold on. Let's get this window sorted out. Right, apologies. But it gives everybody time to get here, because usually, like I say, YouTube hasn't put any notifications out. Not my end, anyway. And there's Noelle Marie in the house. She is as well. Hello, my darling. And Anset Girl from Australia. So lovely to see you all. It's so lovely for us to be able to get together. Oh, and is Leslie here? Where does she pop in? And Dave Masters. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What a treat. Aren't we treated tonight? So should we have a little look at the agenda? It's not really an agenda, look. So, welcome and intro. We think we've well done that, Andy. Messing around, trying to get the chat working. Do apologise. Won't happen again. We'll have a quick Intel report, right? And we'll do SHTF scenarios, and we'll have some Howls Growls Q&A, Ask Me Anything, call in live guests and so on, right? We'll have that all night as well. Plus we've got the VIP after party leading into for our VIPs on Discord. So we've got we're changing up a bit with the music tonight as well. We've gone back to our Sigma Prepper live show style playlist. Keep it a little bit more friendly, because there's so many things not friendly out there that I don't know, I think we need all the enjoyment we can get. And there's so many things happening, things that are coming out. I'll talk about a few of them in the SHTF Intel, no doubt. I don't want to get too ranty in it though, because we had a monster SHTF Intel report last week. So yeah, I'd rather talk about the things that we need to get figured out going forwards, because as the thumbnail says, we're running out of time. And in terms of like predictions for 2023 for SHTF scenarios and SHTF survival type things that we will be faced with, there's quite a lot to deal with. So we've had 22 votes on the what do you fear in 2023. I think we will call it. In fact, I think we might. Yes, we'll call it now, shall we? So I can tell you, let me do a quick screenshot. Obviously, as the channel grows, as we would expect the number of votes to grow as well. But what I'll do is I'll pop that into the Discord server, and so that you can go and have a little butchers. The link is in the description. So here's the Discord server for Sigma Prepper. Make your way over there. It's free to join. They've got all the rooms down the left-hand side, all the different channels as part of Sigma Prepper. With the SHTF Intel section, you've got all the preparedness sections with all the information that people are adding in. Prepper sources, you've got protection security started up, you've got financial help and things in there as well. Tools and tech, looks like there's been some new ones added. So thank you everybody for sharing your preparedness information on the Discord server. You've got the VIP area here if you are a VIP. And yeah, so in text chart, I've just added this in. So there's the results of the poll then. So far, what do you fear in 2023? And we had global recession at 14%, grid downs and blackouts 55%. So that's the winner, if you can call it that. Major global conflict at 9%, and food shortages second place, 23%. So we got grid downs and blackouts is the main concern, followed by food shortages and global recession. And I guess global recession kind of equals food shortages anyway, ultimately, doesn't it? So yeah. Amphir as well with us tonight. Great to see you. And I suspect that there might be electrical grid blackouts this weekend and early next week in the UK. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised either. I've been calling that for a long time. If anything, I would have thought that certain things would have already happened by now. So really, as far as I'm concerned, we've been in bonus time for quite some time, yeah? And it's just as well because, you know, I've only just got the diesel heater set up and running. Do you know what? I'll tell you a little story before we get into the SHTF Intel report. Went to the gas station to fill up the jerry can that I got with diesel so we can get the heater going. And I bought these 20 litre, which I think in America is £40 jerry can, yeah? Went to the garage and I went in first because you're supposed to say, you know, I'm going to do the jerry can, and I had 2 jerry cans, and because times are hard, we couldn't afford to do 2 cans, so I did one and Magic Hand did the other, right? That was the idea. So I went in the shop and I said, yeah, I've got these 2 jerry cans. I just so you know, I want to fill this one up and then I'll hang it up and then I'm going to put it in and I'll do this one and I want to pay on 2 separate cards, right? And she's like, yeah, no problem at all. And she said, what jerry cans? And she showed me this laminated thing in the gas station. It was laminated, so it was obviously a thing. And there was all the different pictures of the jerry cans. And the 20 litre ones, the big ones, it said no. With a big red cross through it and said, no, maximum allowed is 15 litres. The maximum allowed is 15 litres. Can you believe it? What sort of a nanny state is that? So you can't even buy in a jerry can more than 15 litres without getting maced and tased in the face. Maced and tased in the face. Yeah? So bear that in mind if you think you're gonna be just going to the gas station, just filling up a jerry can with diesel. It's as per usual in these Western countries for some reason. Nothing is as easy as it's supposed to be. Health and safety and all that. So 5 gallon in the US, yeah, the 5 gallon ones, right? So let me know if your gas stations in the US would tell you that, oh, no. You're only allowed 15 litres maximum. You can put 150 litres in your diesel truck if you pull up alongside the pump, no problem at all. But if you've got a jerry can, 15 litres maximum. WTF. It's really becoming so annoying that it's not rationing, it's like it's health and safety because nanny state wanting to protect you from blowing yourself up. Yeah? Accidentally. With fuel. I mean, it's diesel. It doesn't even ignite. You can hold a match to diesel and it won't go whoomp. Right? It needs to be under pressure or, you know. In the US, no one would ask. What? Of course they wouldn't. Yeah, that's messed up, isn't it just? No one ever stopped me, says Noel Ray. You see the sort of nonsense that we have to deal with. I was just amazed. I literally came back to the car and I just opened the door, like Magic Hand was in the driving seat. And I just laughed. I said, honey, you're never going to believe it. You're never going to believe the nanny state shit we're dealing with now. Oh, man. So amazingly annoying. But you know, these things are designed to protect people who are super sort of like room temperature IQ. And room temperature right now is around about 13 degrees centigrade. So, it's just scary, yeah, because I don't know. Let me know what you think. let me know what you think in the comments if you're watching this after as well. But I'm kind of just done with these stupid, every single day there's a new rule or law about something that doesn't need to be there. So what's Amphir saying here? Tonight the National Grid is to turn on the OCGT open gas cycle, pretty much an emergency move. Yeah. Now many websites and apps use microservices powered by data centers. It makes it easier to keep the big players on while turning the smaller businesses. Do you know what I was thinking about that, Dave? Right, that's really interesting you brought that up. Perhaps we'll get into that on the later in the show. I'll see if I can extend this out and then it'll make up for this funny font that it decided to have selected. But it's perfectly legible, so that's fine. Because I was wondering about that, Dave, when I was showing a few weeks ago about how I showed the government plan for the rolling blackouts in the UK. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I got it here. Or I got a link here somewhere on my desktop. It's not that one. Let's have a look. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, this is it. So, several weeks ago, I talked about the UK government's plan to do rolling blackouts and electricity supply emergency code, right? When there's an emergency, you just saw Amphir there talking about, they're already talking about emergency measures, right? With the grid, the national grid. So what this is a document put together to plan how they would do rolling blackouts, right? And so if we scroll all the way down, this is like 36 pages worth of thought out plan, right? So this is the variable rotor disconnection plan, and there's a lot of the codes here are based on your area, your district code, right? Like Hunger Games. So on your electricity bill, it will tell you what district code you are, and then it will tell you what the time slots are. Yeah, 12:30 to 15:30, 15:30 to 18:30, and so on, right? And then this is the plan as to when the blackouts will be where. So let's get down to a juicy one. So like here, for example, down the left-hand side, you've got the district column. So which district you're in, you'll look down the letter for like K, for example. We don't even know what we're in. It seems a bit ambiguous on the bill I've looked, but anyway, so K, and then you come along here and it'll tell you when you're going to be on and when you're going to be off, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, yeah? Now, when I saw this, and it goes on, this is level 8 for disconnection, this is level 8 emergency and level 9 emergency, and these are their plans. All the way through to the point where it's basically constant blackout, as you would probably imagine, right? But this here is as good as a blackout, because I don't know quite how this would work. Because if you think about it, going Monday, from midnight morning, Sunday night, Monday, all the way through till Thursday with no juice. Sorry, fuck that. Sunday, I'm talking about his top one, right? Sunday, from midnight, Sunday, Saturday, all the way through till Thursday with no power, look at that top line. Because the power's off on all Sunday, look at the end. And then comes back on. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I didn't realise we've still got... I do apologise. I've just seen... We've still got the chat. Still got the chat up on the thing. Sorry about that. I do apologise. So... what I'm trying to show here is that in this event, this is as good as a blackout anyway, because from the Sunday onwards, there's no power at all the way through Monday, all the way through Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday, the power comes on for this one time slot, which is 3 hours long. Right? Now, bear in mind, if you've got battery banks or you've got even just basic stuff like your USB-C power delivery or just USB-C battery bank, USB battery banks, you're going to have 3 hours to get all your stuff charged back up again. 3 hours. Even when you look back here, look, it's still not a good look, because like Monday, you're on for in time period 4, whatever that is. I can't remember now. Like morning sometime for 3 hours. To charge all your stuff that's got to last you all the way through to the next day, and then the power's going to be on for another 3 hours. How, and this gets me to what I was going to say about what Dave Masters was just bringing up there. About how it doesn't, like, where you've got businesses, how are businesses going to survive more than 10 minutes when they're being, the power's going off and the power's off more than it's on? And even if it just goes off for 1 3-hour period in a day during the working day, that restaurant can't stay open. There's no lights. They won't have any heating. There's laws about heating in premises for customers and stuff. You know, there's going to be just nothing. And so it means that a business, what does a business do? Does it open the doors and then they stay open for a couple of hours and then everyone goes home because the power's going to get turned off? It's unsustainable, and I think that's the point. Yeah. And like Amphir says, you know, tonight the National Grid turn on the OCGT, the open gas cycle. Pretty much an emergency move. So we're getting there, you know. Oh man. So I'm just not quite sure how that's going to work for businesses, and as Dave says there, the theory is that perhaps they have certain businesses will be kept on, because you think, well, they can't turn off the grid everywhere, because then they're certainly not going to want the police stations to be turned off, are they? That's about the only thing they're going to keep on, is the police stations. So how are they going to do that? Because not everybody has a smart meter in their home to be able to be turned off remotely. Obviously, that's the point of smart meters, is so you can be turned off remotely, just like smart cars and smart devices. You notice that? That's the link. Anything that's a smart device is just something the government can turn off when they want. Yeah, including smart meters. But because not everybody has smart meters, they're not going to be shutting down these different areas, those districts I showed you, right? They're not going to be shutting those down. How do you, with smart meters, this is going to be a grid-based thing. They must have put a lot of infrastructural effort into being able to segment the grid, the national grid, to the level where they can just decidedly turn certain groups of people on and off. And I do believe that there are some underground, in both senses of the word, yeah, underground cabling to certain businesses or big giant corporates that are gonna have power continually, no matter what. Everybody else is going to be down, right? So this is a major concern, and it's a major concern for you out there as well. Hence the poll that we've got running tonight. What do you fear most in 2023? And the winning vote at the moment is grid downs and blackouts. And I've left the vote running, so you can still vote in the poll live in the chat. So please join in with that and let us know what your thoughts are for your fears for 2023, because that's what we're going to be largely talking about when we come back after the SHTF Intel report, which we've got coming up. We'll get it right in a minute. You see the subtle bugginess I've got going on? Try it again. Here we go. What we've got coming up later on with SHTF Intel report we're going to be getting into now. We might have a short break and then coming back for the main SHTF scenarios, where we'll be getting into all the topics that you want to talk about. We'll have live guests as well. If you want to come on the show, you're welcome to do so. Starting in with getting yourself on Discord. That'll be the way we'll do it. I can patch you through live that way, theoretically, but we'll see. So please get yourself in the chat. Say hi to everyone. Please make sure you're subscribed. Kaza, great to see you, Kaza. Thank you for joining us. Who else we got? Stream Focus said, turning equipment on and off will destroy equipment and then nobody has any power. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Stream Focus. We'll talk about that more after SHTF Intel. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The infrastructure is going to be absolutely caned absolutely caned by the fact that there's going to be the surges. I can't even imagine the surges because these times they're going to be turning the power on and off are so random, and half of them are halfway through the night after, and people are going to have electric heaters on because I imagine they're going to do it in the wintertime just to be cruel. Yeah. So people are going to have their electric heaters on, they're going to be in the middle of doing stuff. Yeah. So when it shuts down, when it shuts back on, everyone's got their stuff turned on. And in that 3 hours or whatever that they've got to recharge all their stuff, everybody in the country or in that district is going to have all of their stuff plugged in to charge. Battery banks, you know, big battery banks, you name it, phones, iPads, right, will all be charging crazily before it all gets shut down again. I mean, this is not going to be good. It's not going to go well at all. And again, if it doesn't take out the last of the elderly, it's certainly going to take out the last of the businesses. Yeah. Interesting. Laughs me there. Thank you, my darling, for being you, by the way. Great to see you. I hope you'll be able to catch up with us in the Discord after party. During the fire, because they had the fire up near California area, right? She was part of that, and she was basically firefighting with all the hoses and dousing, right? And they protected their home. During the fire, our neighbours that have smart meters were turned off. They wouldn't have evacuated if not. That is incredible. Thank you so very much for sharing that with us. But there you go. How is that not a perfect example of, yeah, the government just turning people off? You should speak to someone in South Africa, seeing they have the grid thing going on. Yeah, we should start looking into that maybe in part 2, Carolyn, right? When we look at the SHTF scenarios. And I think obviously based in, depending on what, if unless anything dramatic happens with the votes and with the poll between now and after SHTF Intel, it's going to be grid downs and blackouts that we're going to focus on when we come back as our leading fear for, you know, from now leading into 2023 predictions for SHTF. So oh, don't worry Carolyn Rose, you damn sure we're going to be getting into that. Yeah, the 10, 15 or 20 minute cities, yeah, the 15-minute neighborhoods as they're called at Agenda 2030, but we'll get into that. It should do daily. The Streamlabs, yes, and don't forget we've got Streamlabs rocking as well for super chats. Thank you so very much to Purple Flirtball, Perps, Pedigree Mongrel for your super chats last week. I really appreciate the way to keep the show going. Since it's going to be a slightly longer journey to monetization than it should have been, thanks to some YouTube shadow banning for no absolute reason at all. It's also removing subscribers. I've had lots of people reporting it's removing their subscriptions, and I've also had a lot of people saying that they've liked my videos, but when they've come back, YouTube seems to have unliked the video. Well, not unliked it, but just not liked it. Yeah. So a little bit shady, but that's just what they do, and that's what they do consistently to me, it seems, and I'm not quite sure why or what there is that Sigma Prepper talks about they hate quite so much. It's just yet more bullying from YouTube. Oxford, yes, and not only Oxford, Kaza, there's lots of places, and Canterbury, which is somewhere where I grew up. Yeah, so it's close to my heart, Carolyn, right? Victoria, Australia apparently are going for the 20-minute city limits. Andy, can you post a link? I certainly can, Mr. McNamara. For you, I would do... I won't even sing. Where is it? Here we go. Live super tips. Streamlabs.com/super prepper. Oh, Sigma Prepper, Super Prepper. Streamlabs.com/Sigma Prepper. There we go. Let's get back to this one. Yeah, it's streamlabs.com/ Oh, sorry, it's not showing the... There we go. I can fit it on now. Streamlabs.com/Sigma Prepper. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support from anybody who is able to help. For the diesel heater, diesel fund. Right, should we get into the SHTF Intel quickly? We're going to gloss over some headlines. We're not going to get into any big rants like I did last week. We're just going to go through what the headlines are saying, really, and then we'll come out the other side and see how people are feeling. So, let's do it then. SHTF Intel for today, the 8th of December. We definitely have gremlins tonight. Do we or do we not have gremlins tonight on the show? But welcome to SHTF Intel with your host Andy for Sigma Prepper for today, the 8th of December 2022. Not long now till the end of the year. We'll be doing a Christmas special, no doubt. So do stay tuned for that. We've only got a couple of weeks now until Christmas, so we'll be doing something for that. So we're just going to have a quick look at the global analysis, latest top stories, just a few little simple bits like that, and we'll see how things are rocking. So, and I'm going to read these with you first, because I've just opened my usual tabs. I've opened some headlines and we're just going to have a little gloss over, right? Lich. Because, whoa. Oh, Robert McNamara. Here he is. What an absolute superstar. Robert McNamara, I really appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much. Look, what can I say? And perps. Thank you so much, my darlings. I really... Seriously, it really means a lot to me at the moment. It's things are super tough, so thank you so much. And what can I say? Yeah, I couldn't do it without you. Thank you, my friends, and can't wait for Discord after party as well. That's the favourite bit. Right, here we go. This is BBC News. Then we'll just have a see what they wreck. And Russia swaps basketball star for merchant of death. Sounds like a good deal. The moment Greiner and Bout cross the airport tarmac. The merchant of death, who is Victor Bout. No EU border-free zone for Romania and Bulgaria. EU ministers vote to admit Croatia to the Schengen zone, but Romania and Bulgaria must wait. Who started it? Putin defends energy strikes. Pope breaks down in tears over Ukraine. Boy in the box identified after 65 years. Celine Dion reveals incurable health condition. Iran carries out first execution over protests. Oh dear. So, nothing's making me want to read it on that page. I don't know about you. So we'll have a look at the DEFCON then. DEFCONlevel.com. They sometimes have some good little updates on the last few days. So let's take it back from the 6th. So Russia claims that Ukraine hit 2 of its air bases located on Russian soil before Russia carried out a large-scale missile attack on Ukraine. This is the 6th of December. North Korea has fired 90 rounds of multiple rocket launchers into the buffer zone between North and South Korea, as South Korea and the United States continue to carry out joint live-fire military drills near the border. He said they always go on about this, and it's like, well, you know, we're going and setting off a lot of missiles right on their shores from the other side of the world where we live, and we have a problem with them firing their own. I don't know, I've got an issue with that. Russia has deployed the Bastion coastal missile system in Kuril island of Paramushir, Russia, which is an island also claimed by Japan, known by the Japanese as the Northern Territories. That could get interesting. 20 Chinese military aircraft and 4 planned vessels spotted around the island of Taiwan on December the 6th, according to Taiwan's Ministry of Defense. Also on the 6th of December, Tampa An Islamic Revolutionary Guard Navy patrol boat interacted in an unsafe and unprofessional manner as US Navy ships transited the Strait of Hormuz the evening of December the 5th. And then December 8th then, today, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the special military operation in Ukraine is taking longer than expected and addressed the usage of nuclear weapons. Boom. Also today, 27 Chinese military aircraft and 4 planned vessels were spotted around the island of Taiwan on December the 7th to 8th. So they're obviously still lingering around there. So that's that. Have a look on some other headlines then. We've got major economic contraction coming in 2023, followed by even more inflation. Titanic sinking. The signs are already present and obvious, but the overall economic picture probably won't be acknowledged in the mainstream until the situation becomes much worse, as if it's not bad enough. It's a problem that arises at the onset of every historic financial crisis. Mainstream economists and commentators lie to the public about the chances of recovery, constantly giving false reassurances and lulling people back to sleep. Even now, with price inflation pummeling the average consumer, they tell us that there is nothing to worry about. The Federal Reserve's soft landing is on the way. So, we know that's not the case. We are preparing for financial turmoil. And thanks to Robert McNamara and Perpy Poos and all of those VIP wonders out there for Sigma Prepper, thank you so much, because third Russian airbase set ablaze by drone strike as Ukraine extends war across border. So it's not de-escalating now, is it? It seems to be continually escalating. Not what we want to see. So, overnight into Tuesday, a third airfield deep inside Russia came under attack, suffering a fire after an oil storage depot was bombarded by what the Kremlin described as a drone attack that was repelled after initial blast. So next up then, how mainstream media is destroying the United States. Not just the United States, it's basically every Western country and probably all others as well. It's becoming clear day by day why the mainstream media has been so against Elon Musk buying Twitter for, as they say in law enforcement, there is a blue code where cops do not rat on cops, and the same is true about judges. But do you know the thing is that Elon Musk is mainstream. He is mainstream. He's not there to help us. I can give you 100 reasons why. We'll maybe talk about that in the after party tonight with the Discord VIP members, perhaps. Why Elon Musk is not on our side. International Blood Bank for the Unvaccinated has been formed with members from at least 16 countries. Demand for pure blood skyrockets. Amazing. This was something that was predicted a long time ago, the minute they started rolling it out. Unvaccinated patients who require transfusions can now access pure blood, and of course those that have been following the absolute travesty in New Zealand, where the state seems to have stolen somebody's baby now. Unvaccinated patients who require transfusions can now access pure blood thanks to a new... They can't if they live in New Zealand because the government will decide what your blood your baby has or not, thank you. You're just the parents, yeah? We're the government. We'll decide what blood goes in your baby or our baby or not. Fuck. Unvaccinated patients who require transfusions can now access pure blood thanks to a new service called Safe Blood Donation, which was launched by a Swiss naturopath named George Della Pieta. So, that's interesting, isn't it? You know, this is good timing in terms of this really needs to get some traction, because with what's going on in New Zealand, people just need to have options, and the government telling you what they're going to do to your child or not isn't really acceptable. That's not what we employ them for now, is it? This was interesting. Had to have a little look at this and see what it was going to say. I haven't read any of these. We're all reading them together for the first time. AOC under investigation by House Ethics Committee. This is on Zero Hedge. The House Ethics Committee is investigating Republican Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So nearly came out with her nickname. According to a Wednesday press release, I don't think she's going to have been handcuffed. Pursuant to House Rule Clause and Committee Rules the acting chairwoman and acting ranking member of Committee on Ethics have jointly decided to extend the matter regarding Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, which was transmitted to the committee by the Office of Congressional Ethics, and so it's unclear what she is being investigated for. No, you could have led with that, right? Get them all excited, and then it's like, wop, 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 wop. It's unclear what she's been investigated for. I'm sure they'll find something. Though the Daily Caller notes that shortly after she took office, conservative groups filed complaints alleging AOC had misused congressional resources and that she has come under fire for her involvement with the Justice Democrats super PAC. Breaking: the House Ethics Committee has opened investigations of Republican Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Doesn't even say what it is though, does it? No. Oh well. So let's flick to this one then. China opens police station to spy on citizens in Israel, report says. Safeguard defenders say the police stations, most of which are in Europe, are used to harass and silence Chinese nationals and dissidents living abroad. Of course they are. Of course they are. I reported on this about 2 months ago when it first came out and wondered what the how well it would go down. Because they were setting up these little stations all around the world for the people who are Chinese living in foreign countries, yeah, to keep track of them and allow them to report in stuff, yeah. The station is one of 110 around the world, cited by the Madrid-based organisation which seeks to support civil society groups and human rights lawyers. Of course it is. Yeah, there's been some places where they've been protesting outside them, but they're not what you would think. They're interesting places. They're like in bakeries and little Chinese takeaways and things like this, and they're stationed in there to look out for, you know, Chinese dissidents and, you know, people that are wanted and all these other things. Yeah. So let's finish up with some G-Captain then, see what's going on with the shipping, because I think there's a few headlines I opened up here which look like they could affect us. Oil tankers stuck near Turkey, costing millions to wait. Now, what's interesting about this, I haven't read the story yet, but when I saw this first bit, the snarl up has delayed millions of barrels of oil. So the minute I see that, delayed millions of barrels of oil, you think, cha-ching, that's part of their plan again. Is already spiralling into an enormous and contentious bill for the waiting time. So that will be another shipping company put out of business then, probably. Based on the delays of tankers currently near Bosphorus and Dardanelles Straits, about $13 million of extra freight costs have been incurred by the ships because they can't currently pass through. Day rates for waiting have been around 100 bags of sand or more in recent weeks, according to shipbrokers, owners and traders. So far, about 26 tankers have been unable to pass through the straits after Ankara imposed new rule requiring owners to provide proof their ships are insured for transit, tracking data compiled. You see, all these little things they do, right? Turkey said the move was due to a G7 and European Union price cap on Russian oil that made it hard to check whether cargoes would be covered. You see, this is like, it's not an accident. This is all by design. This is like, you don't make stupid mistakes like this. Yeah? They know exactly what the cause and effect of things are, right? They're not, I know what it is, yeah? Even though it's been my job in business of, you know, strategy and stuff like that. And but if I'm trained in stuff like that and just, how can people whose job it is for the country not be able to foresee these things? You're right. They do foresee them. They know exactly what they're doing. Anything that they can do to snarl up more millions of barrels of oil to fall right in line with their Agenda 2030 climate change lockdown stuff. Yeah. Supertanker earnings plunge on reduced crude supplies, and look, more oil-ish. Earnings for giant supertankers carrying crude are slumping as OPEC production cuts This is written awfully. Earnings for giant supertankers carrying crude oil slumping as OPEC production cuts and reduce releases from US reserves curb seaborne volumes. Ships capable of hauling 2 million barrels of crude are now earning about $38,000 a day, down 62% from just a couple of weeks ago. However, if you look at the profit margins, they've gone from about 5% profit margin, the cargo tankers, to about 60% margin. Since 2019, yeah, the minute the pandemic hit in 2020, 2019, it went from 5 to 6% on average profit margin to nearly 60% during COVID. So that this isn't a problem with the profits, because the profits have been epically up, which is why you go from container costs being like $1,700 to then going to $22,000, $23,000. More than 10 times the price. That's what happened during the lockdowns, right? Again, it's just a total setup. Absolute total and utter setup. So I think we'll just have a quick butchers at the... that was lucky. I nearly just closed my entire streaming thing down. It's definitely one of them days, isn't it? I haven't felt that well for quite some time. I think I suffer from that SADS thing, you know, where it's like no sun. I just want to hibernate for the whole winter. Let me know in the chat if you think that humans should hibernate during the winter for a couple of months, and then we all come back out bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for a year's worth of productivity, and we should only be working a 4-day week. They've already proven that people are more productive and effective and efficient when they work 4 days a week versus 5 days a week. Funny that, but it's true. So 4 days a week and hibernate for about maybe 2 months of the year. December and January, just hibernate. See you later. Night night. See you in the morning. I hope everyone's happy and fine in the chat. Let's have a look. Yes, Perps. I know what you're chatting about. Lovely to see everyone catching up in the chat. Thank you everyone for being with us today. So let's have a butchers then at the see what's going on with the watchers and what's going on with the climate and going on around the world, and earthquakes and volcanoes. So we've got a very large water spout near Komiza, Croatia. A bright fireball over Japan. Severe flash floods hit Lisbon, Portugal. Increased seismicity under margin. We'll have a look at the earthquake map in a minute. We've got tropical cyclone Mandus forms on the Bay of Bengal. Red alerts issued for parts of Tamil Nadu. Massive eruption here at Semeru volcano. Volcanic ash up 15.2 kilometers, 50,000 feet. So there's no way that's not going to be getting in the way of aircraft. And again, this... that's still from the 30th of November, the New Zealand eruption. So, oh yeah, check it out. Look at the water spout. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Cool, that is quite a monster, isn't it? I wonder what the diameter of that is, yeah? No, it's all Twitter, innit? So this is the severe flash floods hit Lisbon, Portugal. This is today, Thursday the 8th. Very heavy rains hit capital Lisbon, Portugal on December the 7th, causing severe flash floods and leaving at least one person a goner. That's no good. 3.2 inches of rain. That's not much, is it? I think it's because it's been so consistent. Yeah, sounds like some people were unlucky in that one. Sad to hear. Especially near Christmas, right? Such an awful time to lose someone. Massive eruption at Semeru volcano. Volcanic ash up 15.2 kilometers. Looks like a bit of a mess, doesn't it? Should we see if they've got any footage? Looks like a bit. Cool. That was quite impressive, wasn't it? Yeah. We are expecting there to be increased seismicity and volcanic activity going forward with the potential micronova and, you know, pole diversion, or pole excursion, should I say. The Earth's poles are fading in their magnetic intensity. So earthquakes 32, bang on average today. No more or less than normal. And they seem to be somewhat in all the normal places. There's one here in Italy that's not particularly normal. But San Marino. So let's have a look at the sun then. Look at the number of sunspots we've got there. That's just littered. Absolutely littered. Look at it all. Boom, 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 boom. But not really looking like there's particularly any activity, right? There might be a lot of sunspots. This is the solar flare X-ray flux, so you'll see this go boom, boom, boom. There's nothing going on in that respect. There's not even an M-class flare. So there's lots of sunspots here. But as you'll see in the sunspot summary, they're all just alpha or beta, I think, are they? Yeah, just alpha or beta magnetic class. There's no magnetic mixing enough to make any flaring, but that should affect this month's sunspot count number, which we've been tracking. So let's look at the Space Weather Prediction Center with the enthusiasts page, where it will show you down the bottom the solar cycle with the predicted values versus actual. And of course, we've been tracking way off for some time. This last one seemed to have been revised the day after it came out. It was in line with the one before it, with October. It was about 95, and it suddenly jumped down. It was very unusual. I'd never seen that before. So I don't know what they're doing with the numbers now. But you can see the normal expected red line of where we would expect it to be, and so it's either arriving much earlier or it's going to be much more intense than was predicted. So yeah, with the number that we've got going on here, yeah, it's crazy. If it does that every day, next month is going to be even more impressive and off the scale. So I think what we'll do is we'll quickly finish up on the crypto side of stuff and see what they've got in store for us. $17,222 for Bitcoin. It is regaining a bit, but coming in towards Christmas time, there's usually a massive exodus. Yeah. There's usually a pretty epic exodus of money. But you can see this is over the last 24 hours, look. Right, so we're at 16.8 back here 24 hours ago. We're up to 17.2. So you can see it has jumped up quite a lot. It's got a long way to go to regain, and I don't believe it will. I do think it's going to test 10 grand before it goes up again to any significance. It's not financial advice, but I've been skeptical for a while. For about 6 months to 9 months now, I've been saying that I just feel that with all the central bank digital currencies coming along, I don't think it's gonna. Yeah. What you'll see here, though, is that the actual market cap, the total market cap, isn't any more than it was before, right? But I noticed that the Bitcoin dominance chart is going up, look. So that means that most people, well, not most people, that means that people are taking their money from all the altcoins and the smaller crypto coins, and they're putting them, you know, into Bitcoin, just holding it in Bitcoin because everything's going down the pan. Quite so bad. Yeah. So, anyway, that's it for cryptos. Let's have a quick check into the chat and see what people have got going on. I saw a buy crypto cash ATM at the shops. It's funny, isn't it? This is the thing, Caroline. This is one of the things I was talking about a while ago, about how one of the things going for crypto is the fact that to keep it rocking and rolling is the fact that it's so much money has been spent in infrastructure and things like the ATMs that you're talking about there, Caroline, in the shops, and all sorts of deals and negotiations that have been done with big stores and things as well to accept crypto. And there's been so much investment by some pretty big players, right? They're going to want to see a return on that investment. So people are going to be fighting. Believe me, people are going to be fighting to rebuild crypto and rebuild the confidence in it after what FTX did to it. And again, I believe that was part of a coordinated effort to, demonize cryptos and make it look like the wild, wild west of finances and needs to be regulated, right? By the government. Needs to regulate it, this kind of stuff. That's the whole point of it, is it doesn't need regulation. It regulates itself. The only problem with FTX wasn't FTX and wasn't crypto a problem. It was a Sam Bankman-Fried. It was a scam, not a bankman going to get fried problem. Not a crypto problem, right? No to a 4-day week. I'm a contractor. But believe me, Dave, they would get more done. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but tests have been done, Dave. Tests have been done. And believe me, when you work people 4 days a week, they do more work in 4 days than 5 or 6. And especially 7. Just people become less and less productive as the week goes on, right? And so if you know you've only got 4 days, people work even harder to get all that stuff done by the Thursday, yeah? Yeah, extreme focus there. FTX and Alameda executives are home free. Home free, Caroline, the giggly one who's talking about stop losses. What are they? Yeah, we don't need stop losses. Caroline was seen and frapped. She was snapped in a coffee shop in downtown New York. Only about a 6-minute walk from the local FBI office. Funnily enough. Wow, millions and billions of money missing. They're going to start limiting the amount you're allowed to take out of the ATM. Hello, your money. Yeah, they're doing that already, aren't they? And this is all a big crackdown on cash. And the minute they do that, switching it to digital only is going to be very easy. Once it's digital only, which they can do within 3 months, it's very easy to switch it from pounds, dollars, yen to tokens or UBI tokens or social credit tokens or carbon credits, whatever they're going to end up calling it. But it's only 2 steps away now. Yeah, we've let them get this far, so they're only 2 steps away from absolute control and domination of the entire global population, with no hope of coming back for many, many generations after. So it's all down to us, it would seem. So Anthea, they're saying Chinese had one of those little secret police stations in Glasgow. Interesting. So thank you everyone for being with us. And thank you again to our super chatterers. Really appreciate it through Streamlabs. Streamlabs.com/Sigma Prepper if you'd like to help the show come back again. And let's have a look. Gross Cowboy in the house. Agree they're doing the same thing with crypto. They did devaluing gold. Can't have a gold-based or alternative currency. No. I'm not sure if they're gonna try doing gold. What do you call it? Where they, what's it called? Confiscate. They did a confiscation, didn't they? Back in the 70s or 60s? Was it gold confiscation? I'm not sure if they'll do that. They could do a crypto confiscation. That'd be interesting. It would never work. No, they would never. Yeah. Oh. What a time to be alive, says Sandy. Yeah. Extreme focus there. Worked 2 jobs, total of 8 years with 4 work days. Definitely better. Oh man. Recall? No, I think it is just confiscation, isn't it? Well, you give me all the gold or else, basically is how it works. So, should we get into it in the SHTF scenarios then, back in the coffee shop? So let's get back to the coffee shop, shall we? So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me for the SHTF Intel. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit the like button if you haven't done already. And I shall see you on the other side in the coffee shop. Hope you've enjoyed it, and don't go anywhere. See you in a second. Welcome back to the coffee shop, my fine people. Back to the funky music. Party time. So what we're going to do then is we're going to get into our main topic of the night, which we did a poll earlier on. We've had 26 votes now. Thank you everybody for voting in tonight's poll. Look at Netrum Design in the house. What an absolute superstar. Thank you, Netrum. Really appreciate your support, especially coming up near Christmas, Netrum. What an absolute... Thank you so much. Wow. Sigma Prepper. Here for you. Yeah. Okay, I'll deal with that when I come back after the break. We're going to have a short break, but when we come back, we'll be getting into anything you want. But I think as a result of the poll tonight, 26 votes. What do you fear most for 2023? Choices were global recession, grid downs and blackouts, major global conflict, or food shortages. And I tell you what, it is looking still like... It's looking, there's a pretty good spread of votes, but it's looking like the grid downs and blackouts are the absolute winner so far. So, thank you for your support, Netrum Design. Really, really appreciate it. And again, as a VIP, on top of that is just, so appreciative. And so we're going to go to a break quickly. We're going to go to a break quickly. I think we should have some... We're going to do some tunes in the standby. And then we're going to have a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We won't be long. Just 5 minutes to go and get a refreshment. So get yourself a new drink. And absolute legend. Isn't Netrum Design a living legend? Is what he is. Oh, nice, Netrum. Thank you, everyone, for supporting our super chatterers, our streamlabberers. Yeah, do you know what, Perps? I agree. I think the grid down scenario is perhaps one of the most worrying ones that we could face. Of all SHTF scenarios, to be honest, it is by far the most destructive, the quickest, and it's the one that I have been talking about for like at least a year and a half, 2 years, as to be expected to be either now, well, within the next 6 months is what I was expecting, and I was thinking it would be wintertime. So we're overdue from now on. We're already in bonus territory. I'm super glad I got the diesel heater. I don't have any heat in here still. I'm not sure if the other option's going to arrive in time. We're just going to have to hope. I am really concerned about how much solar power is not being generated by my off-grid battery bank solar panel at the moment. It's very unusual. I don't know if it's, Gil Bates's solar dimming campaign or what. But I don't even remember the sun being this low in the sky, and my solar panels just don't seem to be generating anything at all. It's like 30 odd watts. It's just nothing. So we're going to talk about that as well after the break, and some of the things that we need to start thinking about for grid down and blackout, some of our options, and some other bits and pieces I'd like to share with you as well. Cool, listen to that, look. Sandy there. My town's crime has got up 90%, let alone when this starts happening. Yeah. Daily survival, blackouts will cause food shortage as well. Stores can't sell anything with no power. Yeah. And the options of multiple stores will be limited as well, daily survival, won't it? Where, with the grid downs, and it's going to basically make the last of people, the businesses, go out of business and bankrupt. You are going to only have the big superstores to go to, right? And they'll be the ones that will be saying, oh no, you can't come in here unless you've got the old digital pass. Oh no, they've already started that with fridge doors now in America. They've got these smart fridges in Walmarts and stores. So when you want to open it and get a drink, it won't let you open it if it's got facial recognition and everything. So all the infrastructure has already been put into place, right? It's just made to look like it's for something else, but all they need to do is flick a switch or software update, and all that infrastructure, all those cameras, all those tracking apps, all those tracking tech that's built into the fridges, built into the checkouts, built into everything that's been happening over time, right? Through the guise of nonsense, yeah. Everything is being put into place under us, behind our backs, yeah. Check out the Austrian grid down plan. Have they got one? Have they, Ampere? Yeah, definitely need to look into that. Do feel free to post any news like that as well on the Discord server, which is a great place to share information. The best place to share information. So you've got lots of prepping intel here. But on things like that, Ampere, it'd be great on the SHTF Intel with the breaking news. You got some stuff in here about those sorts of things we can whack in there. Breaking news with the Austrian grid down scenario stuff, right? So thank you so very much. Don't go anywhere. Make yourself a new drink, boil the kettle, whatever you're doing, and we'll be back in a few minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and get a refreshment. 5 minutes and we'll be back. And in the meantime, thank you for being with me. Sigma Prepper, stay right there. Back in 5.
Roger. Copy that. Perimeter secure. 10-4.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. Much appreciated. And we had a great part one. Just had a bit of have a look at the SHTF Intel. Quick report. See what was going on around the world. And we've had a poll going on this evening. So thank you to everybody who's contributed to that. We were asking what's the major fear for 2023. Predictions for SHTF scenarios in 2023, and grid downs and blackouts definitely seems to be on everybody's mind, and mine too. That's the thing. Oh, give myself hiccups again, racing back with my tea. Cheers everybody, that's the first and foremost. Thank you so much, love to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here with me and keeping me company and learning together the way we do and sharing our solutions to people's ish. Love to you all, thank you. Love, peace, and progress to the pack. Let's hear it in the chat. Nighty night to our perps as well. She's got work in the morning in the UK. And I'm hoping to have a nice one-to-one with you perps at some point if you're still about. So we'll catch up later in the week or next week or something. Do get yourself over there in the... do get yourself into the Discord server. We'll be having a Discord party quite shortly, actually. I don't want it to be a long one tonight because there's some stuff I'd like to talk about with the VIPs. So, we're going to be talking about the grid down scenarios and just getting a rough idea of where we are with that and what people need to be getting sorted out with, right? Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Robert. Cheers, Daily Survival, my lovely. Thank you, Sandy. Really appreciate you, my darling. Cheers. Right. Shall we start having a little look? There's a few things I'd like to share with you. Let's have a look. Just seeing what the best thing is here. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is talk about our options for off-grid power. Cheers, Connie. Great to see you, Kaza. Yeah. So I'm gonna just touch on a few things quickly, and then I think we'll jump into an after party, right? But so the first thing is that the Chinese diesel heater, which is part of the off-grid, part of my off-grid kind of setup, right, as an option for when there's no power and we would have no other form of heat or anything, right? Our gas central heating isn't working. Yeah, the hot water pump still isn't working. And so yeah, if electric heaters is all we've got, and if the electric goes off, that's the end of heat. So heat's the first thing to address, and this goes in the order of the threes, the rule of threes. Yeah, 3 minutes without air, 3 days without, well, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, right? That's where the cold gets you, or the hot if you're in the middle of the desert, right? So you got 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, right? 3 weeks without food, 3 months without a hug, and it's all bad news, right? So bearing that in mind, I'm dealing with things in kind of that order as you should. So make sure you've got a decent water supply, because if the power goes off, there is a chance, if it's a sustained blackout, that water pressure is lost from the main system if the main pumps aren't working, and you'll struggle to have water. So we've talked about options for storing water as part of a prepping principles. We looked at the options. Actually, part of the grid down scenario disaster timeline, I think we looked at that, didn't we? This is more day by day, but I'll tell you one thing I wanted to have a look at on here. Obviously this was the Yeah, this is the one. I just wanted to look at this quickly. So we talked about water filtration and storage, right? And to be honest, 1 week, I think 1 month is what is safe to go for with a grid down scenario, because as you saw with that chart of what the UK's plan is for turning the grid off and on, off and on, off and on, that might as well be a complete blackout. But 1 week is a good start, and 1 month, you know, it does increase the problem. So bottled water for a month versus a week, you can see one of the solutions to get a 200 litre water butt instead, if you've got a garden. So energy and fuel is an important one, because of course when it comes to talking about how do you survive, you know, 20 hours with no power to have 3 hours on, sorry, 21 hours off and 3 hours on, it's not even going to be enough time to even charge your battery banks up, right? So one of the options, of course, is the off-grid setup, just a basic setup for about the same money as you're going to spend on loads of USB battery banks, yeah, with a decent deep cycle leisure battery. So these are the sorts of things that we're talking about, right? When it comes to a grid down scenario, and the sorts of things that you should be hooking up with. Now, one of the things with the grid down scenario disaster timeline, right, is where we looked at an example of where the grid goes down and what happens day by day, yeah. And I wanted to see when I'd put in here curfews, because that's just happened. In America there was a blackout in North Carolina, is it? And it turned out to be, they've actually rolled out martial law curfews. So day 3, where have I put in here? Police out on the streets. Let me know if you're seeing curfews anywhere. Curfew established, day 7. Here we go. Feeling like you're in the purge on day 7 of a grid down scenario. So I had it pegged here at about day 7 that the government would establish a curfew, and that would form into martial law really more than anything, yeah. And that's, it looks like it was more like 4 or 5 days of a blackout in North Carolina before it went into curfews being established. So I just thought I'd mention that, because I'm seeing that quite a lot. And as people have said, the whole grid down thing is something that all the governments seem to be talking about. Austria's got a plan. Australia I've seen with a plan. New Zealand's talked about as well. Energy supply shortages. Germany threatened their population with blackouts. So I don't think it's something we're going to get away with, right? Amphere here. I have recently been upgrading D-cell magnolites with 1000 lumen 10 watt LED, which can be dimmed to 25% 5%. 70 watt hours using 6 times D-cell. You see, I would personally, Amphere, try as much as you can to navigate away from your D cells and get into the 18650 cells, lithium ion 18650s. Yeah, the nickel metal hydride, you see, right, that you're referring to here. The thing about lithium ion good quality 18650 cells is that you can charge them at about 3 to 5 C if they're good quality. So meaning you can charge them at 5 times the capacity in amps. So you can fast charge 18650s quite considerably as lithium ion. You can't do that with nickel metal hydride. You're talking more like a you know, a 0.25 C. So if your cell is 1 amp power, you shouldn't be charging at more than 250 milliamp of current, right? That's what I mean. So the problem with nickel metal hydrides is that, yeah, the discharge curve is more steady, but you can't charge them as quickly. And this was the thing I was highlighting with the grid down scenario in the UK. They've got planned with the cycling the disconnection across different areas at different times, is you're not going to have enough time to charge your nickel metal hydride cells up. And nickel metal hydride cells also can't deliver much current. Yeah, 18650 lithium ions can deliver about 10C. So if it's a 1 amp hour cell, that can deliver 10 amps of current. Whereas nickel metal hydride, you're lucky to get 0.5C. Yeah, so if it's a 1 amp hour cell, you're lucky to get 500 milliamps out of that. Voltage sag is epic. I'm just saying. But either way, mag lights are the sorts of things that security door staff have at nightclubs. Yeah, mag lights. But you know what? I am a big fan of head torches. Right, if you're going to get anything as a torch, I would recommend a head torch, a good head torch. I'm not saying good like, oh, like $100 odd good. Go for it if you can afford it. But yeah, a good head torch is super critical, right? But you can't keep a 18650 stock. Yeah, but you don't want alkalines anyway. You want rechargeables, and then you can recharge them from your battery bank. Yeah. Alkalines have a use by date, whereas lithium ions and stuff don't. Rechargeables. And you can keep a decent stock of them. Yeah. But again, it's you have to make the decision to go down the 18650 route, and then everything you get will have 18650s, and then you only need one battery type, one charger type. Yeah, that's the benefit, because nothing else uses D cells. Yeah, whereas you got flashlights, you got tactical torches, you got tactical lasers, you got head torches, you got all these things. Yeah, that use 18650s. So if you do it right, then you know you can. But yeah, either way, having batteries is better than not having batteries, Amber, is the point. You're doing a great job just by having stuff, because what was that statistic? It turned out like 7% of the population have a torch other than their mobile phone. So when people were surveyed, do you have any emergency lighting or torches or flashlights, as you would call them in the States, right? When I say torch, you say flashlight. And 7% of people had a flashlight of some kind. The other 87% of people, the other 93% of people had. Well, there was a portion in there, you see, that they classed their smartphones as their flashlight. That's not going to last 5 minutes, man. You know, mobile phones aren't particularly efficient flashlights, right? They take a lot of juice doing nothing. And you know what? I did a big thing the other week where I looked at heat and light. That's a great show to watch if you missed that. But the heat and light with battery power, and having a nice, LED strip is quite a nice efficient light. But I definitely, well, that's good. Already got a load of 18650 torches. Yeah. The other thing as well is finding other things that you can use for your battery banks. Now, I've been talking to Sandy, and because there are opportunities for people, right? And so, for example, Magic Hand, one of her clients, she's in a wheelchair, right? In an electric wheelchair. And the thing about the electric wheelchairs is there's a big, massive battery in those. And there's no reason why you can't use that as a battery bank in an emergency, yeah? And all you need to do is to get a charger socket plug, right? That goes from charger socket plug of your wheelchair into something like a cigarette socket lighter of a car. Like this kind of a thing. It depends what the connector is on your wheelchair battery for charging it, right? But you can get the 3-pin types as well. And I'm going to be making a custom one, so I can trial it, right? Now, the idea being is that if you've got a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, or something like that, and you've got batteries in it, you can keep that charged up, and you've got a ready-made battery bank, right? And with the cigarette lighter socket, you've got all the options with things like USB, car USB, what do you call it? Which doesn't seem to want to show me any. typically. Here we go. This is a really nasty version. But stuff like this, you know, it's not super nasty, but it's... actually, no, this one's alright, isn't it? So check it out. The ratings are pretty good. 1,658 ratings. So look, for $15.99, you can get a car cigarette lighter USB with PD, power delivery. So that'll be the USB-C. That can go up to like 12 volts as well, output. Plus, you've got your socket still there to put something else in. So the idea being is just by having... If you've got a car, you've got a battery bank in your car, right? And a generator, don't forget. So there's no reason to not have options, because for £15 you can get yourself one of these, and of course, not to mention, you've got the option there as well, getting the cigarette lighter socket that you can plug into your wheelchair battery. So I'm going to be doing a show to do with SHTF and prepping for vulnerable and disabled people and stuff like that, yeah. Single females on their own, you know, stuff like that, and yeah. Small family that don't feel like they've got much, they feel pretty vulnerable, elderly people, these sorts of things who aren't very mobile. So I'm going to be doing a show that's going to be specifically designed to help those people. Some ideas like using things like your wheelchair batteries as battery banks, yeah. Let's have a look. Stainless steel bezel on mag lights as well for a defensive. Oh, I like it. Like it. 18 cells survive an EMP due to circuit. Yeah, because the cell cylinder is itself a Faraday cage, really. Yeah, because it's all... So you ain't got to worry about that. And to be honest, if the battery gets EMP'd, then everything else has been EMP'd anyway, so it's kind of... I don't think EMP is likely. I think it's one of the least likely events. Right? Because and if it does happen, then it's to the point where it's such a devastating thing that it will be the least of our problems, the fact that the electronic stuff won't be working, yeah? But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about batteries being EMP'd or putting them in Faraday cages, but the sensitive electronic devices, definitely. Robert there, I went through a power outage in 2007, about 15 days, it was very tough. The hardest problem was keeping the house heated, yeah, 15 days. That's about what it was in Thailand when we had a blackout, the longest one. I mean, the heat wasn't a problem because, you know, the climate was super hot, but, and we didn't use aircon anyway, but just not even being able to have the fans running. The other problem we had was the water. We couldn't use the normal water because we had a private well in our garden, and the pump ran on mains power. I did try to... the thing is that there was a pump underneath the house, yeah, and then that pumped the water up from the well into a holding tank in the attic, yeah. And I had some UPSs, uninterruptible power supplies, and I had 12-volt gel cells in them, just to give you like 10 minutes of time to turn your computer off if there's a power outage and things, right? So I remember using that to get the pump running, but that was a one-shot deal, man. I used that twice to run the pump to get the water up, and that was the end of that UPS. And then power, I didn't know, you see, but the power never came back on, and I just assumed it would come back on in a few hours, and we wanted to fill some stuff up. Crypto Sam in the house, great to see you. So yeah, but in terms of mag lights, I definitely recommend a head torch. They're so useful in terms of having both hands available to carry stuff, to do stuff, to fix stuff while you're looking, and wherever you look is where the light is. Yeah, it just makes so much sense. Yeah, you don't have to worry about putting it in a pocket or putting it on a clip. It's just on your head all the time, you know? So big fan of head torches. I can't believe we've been rocking for like nearly 2 hours already. I was only planning to do a short. So if you plan to use a cigarette lighter, make sure you know what ampage you can. Yeah, this is. But that's the whole point of what I'm saying there, Crypto Sam. About if this is for like USB and things, yeah. But I'll be talking more in detail about that on the thing dedicated for it. But I've got a socket ordered from eBay. When it gets here, I'll be rigging up a custom cable, and I'll be getting Magic Hand to test it on her friend's client's electric wheelchair. And if it works on that, then we should be good. And those USB cigarette lighter socket connectors are usually good for about 30 odd volts. So if your wheelchair runs on 24 volts or 12 volts or 30 volts lithium ion, those USB things will work up to about 35 volt anyway, right? So, you know, easy peasy. You can charge all your ham radios, your torches, you know. You can keep strip lights running. There's a lot of energy stored in those wheelchair batteries. Yeah, it's a surprising amount in there. So, yeah, I wouldn't underestimate it. So, yeah, I've got... let's have a look. Okay. I'm just making sure everything's all right with the stream. I've had so many things going on in the background here to deal with tonight. It's amazing. I don't know why. It's obviously one of those weird days, and but I'm looking forward to. We need to be getting into the Discord after party, you see, and it wasn't supposed to be a late one tonight, so we're going to be getting into that coming up next. So please do join me on Discord if you're a VIP, and if you're not a VIP, please get yourself signed in anyway. It's completely free to join. It'll be worth doing. There's so much information on there, and you're great for notifications when I'm going to be doing videos. So I can't believe my tea's cold already as well. Cheers, everyone. So yeah, I'm not sure what we got. And again, because YouTube hasn't even put the notifications out to barely anyone. I didn't get it on that phone either, did I? Nah, still not. Amazing. Oh well. Got one. I got a notification for Wrangler Star. Wrangler Star, Secrets of the US Forest Service. Wrangler Star, professional homeowner. Nothing for me. Last thing you want is to blow fuses, melt wires in your car nowadays, trying to chase down burn wire. Yeah. Usually though, if you're charging just USB stuff, you haven't got a problem. And if it's got PD... That Robert McNamara being the absolute master again, trying to own the board. Thank you, Robert. Such a star. Oh, that's a point. I must fix that as well. I want to keep the thingy bob up there for longer. So let me get logged into that so that when we're doing our live after party, I can adjust that. As part of the options is what I'll do. Okay, cool. Right. Now I won't forget. Thank you so much, Robert. Yeah, thank you. One of my cigarette light outlets has own fuse for high power things. Yeah. I think most are limited to 2 amps. No way. 2 amps. Car cigarettes, lighter sockets is more like 20 amps. In the car. Yeah. 20 amps you'll get through a car socket is what you'll find. Let me double check. Might be 15. Car cigarette lighter socket fuse size. 15 amp. In most cases, cigarette lighter circuits use 15 amp fuses, but you can check the fuse. But yeah, I'd say 20 amp, but 15 sounds fair. But in terms, that's what the fuse will be in your car. What the cabling that is from your cigarette lighter socket to whatever you're powering will be the thing that will determine how much current in total. But to put it in perspective, when I'm talking about 15 amps, right? 12 volts times 15 amps equals 180 watts. So you've got to be doing some serious stuff to be drawing 180 watts. Right, if you refer back to my, heat and light in SHTF with battery power, and I was doing tests and I showed you what 180 watt looks like, which is basically my 12 volt car kettle. That was about 160 watts. But yeah, Crypto Sam's absolutely right, though. You need to be making sure, which is again I'll get into in the actual video I'll do about it, but you need to make sure that the right cables are thick enough. You don't want really thin wire trying to pull chunky things like kettles. But for things like charging USB devices, smartphones, iPads, running strip light, USB strip lights and things like that, absolutely no problem at all. You'll barely use like 2 amps. Yeah. So the connector on the other end of the plug, sometimes they can be limited to 2 amps. Yeah, like the 5.5mm by 2.1mm DC jack, that's rated about 2 amps. And the 2.5mm by 5.5mm DC jack's rated for about 4 amps. But then you've got things like the XLR connectors, which are a little bit higher than that as well. XLR connectors could like maybe more like 6 amps. But anyway, that will be another show soon as well, because the grid down thing is definitely going to be a thing, and I need to do something about my solar panels and share some of that with you as well. Some of the challenges there. Yeah, some of the realistic expectations you should and shouldn't have when it comes to off-grid solar. Especially this time of year when there's barely any hours of sun during the day. Yeah. It's a pretty dire straits. Oh, I see. Yeah. Like it. And again, you see the benefit of having a high current is the fact that if you've only got 3 hours to charge all your stuff back up after the grid's been down so long, right? If they're doing the rolling blackouts, right? In the event where you've only got 3 hours or 6 hours that the power's going to be on before it turns off again, you're just going to make sure, you're going to want to make sure that you've got fast chargers for stuff, right? So you can charge things up quickly. It is very challenging, and storing electrical energy is quite a challenge. It's not easy, and it's not cheap either. There are creative ways of doing it, right? And there are renewable ways of doing it, but things like wheelchair batteries and using your car battery effectively as well will be something I'll put together in a show, right? Tonight was going to be actually security and defenses. But I need to put a bit more work into some of the slides before, because it's going to be quite a big one, and I think it's a really important one. So I want to make sure that one's right. Also coming up, we've got the Chinese diesel heater review, where I'm doing my optimizations and modifications. And my modifications are actually very, very good. To give you a clue, did I offload that video footage yet? I may not have done. But I may be able to give you a sneak peek. Although I may not. No. But, well, I can. I'll give you a heads up, right? So this is, I did some tests with my Chinese diesel heater, right? And I was recording the fan speed, the air speed coming out of there. This is out of the heat outlet. I'm just measuring it with normal fan speed, and then on high fan speed it goes from about 4 meters per second. And then when I crank it up to high speed, it goes to about 5.3, 5.4 meters per second. Right? So remember that, right? 5.3 meters per second. Now, with the modifications that I did, including things like cutting out the fan shroud the other side, the air intake, right, I tell you now, that's improved the airflow by 50%. That's now at 7.6 meters per second. So the same fan speed as it was before, no different settings, but with my modifications, cutting out the fan finger guard, putting a modified finger guard on, cutting the other guard out, and freeing up all the air intake, I've taken it from 5.3 meters per second to 7.6. That's like a 50% increase in airspeed. So this is a good example of what I'm talking about, making things efficient. Because to get the same airflow as what I've now got coming out of mine, you would have to have that fan on at least medium or high, on maximum fan, to get the same throughput, which is going to be drawing a lot of energy out of your battery with that fan spinning up maximum. Whereas now, the low speed, let's just say the low speed on this one was 4.0 meters per second. The low speed is about 5.6. So I haven't, you know, this is like super efficient now just by making that one modification. There's loads of modifications I've made, but just that one, I wasn't sure how much difference it would make, but sure enough, to increase the airflow by 50%. It's better than even I thought it was going to be. I was thinking maybe 30% max, right? So really happy about that, and super keen to get the video finished up and edited and uploaded. But there's so many clips. It was a big one in the end, but I'm hoping to be brutal and get it down to about 15 minutes. It should be a good one. And then there'll be a second version which I'll do showing it all running. And I've just made a modification today, adding a second silencer to make it quieter. It's much quieter now, so I'm quite happy with it. Right. Damn, must have been my shoddy car that was just crap. It was probably some DIY, somebody rigged your car stereo into the car cigarette lighter thing and then put a 2-amp fuse in it or something. A tritium beta light. Yeah, tritium's like really low. You don't get any light out of tritium, man. If it's the thing you're talking about. Yeah. I worked without batteries for about 10 years. Only useful for close-in work. I don't know about tritium beta light, but tritium is I think I've got a tritium thing there, haven't I? Hold on, I might be able to reach it. I don't think it's on that one actually. I've got a tritium sort of keyring thing, and yeah, it basically glows for like 20 years. They reckon it's like radioactive. So it's not like a glow-in-the-dark thing we have to charge it up with light first and then it glows. It just glows all the time, but it's really unimpressive and it's very expensive. But it is cool because, you know, if grid went down right now, I've got that kind of thing on my bug-out bag. It just dangles down. So whatever happens, I can see the bag across the room because the tritium just glows all the time. Do you know what? It's a shame sitting there with a browser right next to me without just doing a search and going tritium. And see if I can show you. Yeah, here we go. You see? It's only very subtle light. And it's not even as good as that. Even for the expensive ones, yeah? So tritium, like this is like the one I've got. But it doesn't look like that. It's well accentuated. What if you drank radioactive tritium? Don't know, let's not find out. Don't know who would be asking that question. Yeah, look, there's beta lights. This is what you're talking about. We'll see how much it is. But there's a guy, it's not liking that link, is it? Yes, it is. But they're loads of money, and you ain't getting any light out of these, believe me. You can't light anything up. It's not like a torch. Yeah. I mean, look. That radioactive tritium ring, look how much light it's lighting up his skin. And believe me, that tritium ring, each one of those tritium elements, you could buy a torch. You could buy a whole flashlight with a battery for the same price as one of those tritium. So bear that in mind. And if it's not 20 quid for a tritium thing that's tiny one like that, then it's not a proper tritium and it'll be really bad quality. Don't bother buying it. Yeah. You'll be disappointed. And there's certain colours of tritium that don't show up at all. Blue is a joke. Don't bother with blue. Green's pretty good, but again, still unimpressive. Yeah. So this is the most prevalent color. I tried a blue one. Useless. Useless. Really disappointing for the money, just so you know. I could glue one to a Peltier. Because, you know, I saw a guy on TikTok, and he's taken a bunch of those tritium things, and he's wrapped a solar panel, a flexible solar panel around it to make a nuclear power reactor, basically. But it's just tritium with some solar panels around it, embedded in a watch. But it's enough to power the watch, right? To show it. It's pretty good. So could I glue one to a Peltier coil? So a Peltier, for those that don't know, a Peltier is something that converts heat energy to electrical potential, or electrical potential to heat energy. So if you can get a temperature differential from one side of the Peltier to the other side of the Peltier, you can generate electricity. So for example, if you have a tin that you've got a little fire in, and you put a Peltier on the side of it, yeah, there's two wires coming off it. It's just two plates sandwiched together and some dielectric in the middle. Don't worry about it. But basically, if you stuck that to the side of something super hot, like your wood burning stove or something, right, to make one side really hot, then the other side, if you had like an ice bucket that was touching the other side, and you get that temperature differential in a very small space, right, you can generate electricity from that. Yeah. That's what a Peltier is. And equally, you can use a Peltier as a cooler, because if you give it power, so rather than creating a temperature differential to generate power, if you give it power, then it will make one side of that Peltier super cold and the other side super hot. Right? So if you can just get a fan on there to cool the thing side, that really freezing cold side is what you can use to cool CPUs in computers. Quantum computers use a slightly more extravagant version of that, but yeah, Peltier coolers. Does it give a reading on your radiation meter? No. No. Unfortunately not. I wanted it to, but it doesn't. Does the Peltier cooler work in inverse from the cold side? Yes, it just depends how you're going to game it. Yeah. So like I say, if you're using a Peltier cooler to cool, or some people call it phase cooling, I think, but Peltier cooling on a CPU block, you give it juice. As long as you can keep the heat on the other side, it will create a refrigeration on the other. The only problem you've got to deal with then is condensation. It gets complicated. Yeah. So you need to have one side hot, one side cold. There are actually, let's have a look. You can probably find a Peltier generator. They did start coming out of them. I made one years and years ago, 10, 15 years ago, as an experiment when Peltiers first came out. It's quite unimpressive. But if you did it right, Peltier power generator. Now, I did see something like a little camping cookery thing that had a little USB charging port on it, right? Based on, mine was really, the reason I say a tin, because the one I made was using an old paint tin, and it originally was, so sorry, I should go on here. So this is what one that you'll get off eBay looks like, a Peltier. Yeah, it's just a bit of white ceramic basically with some gubbins inside it and two wires coming off. So you'd usually want to have an array of them. So like the paint bucket I did, I had them all the way around the outside. The problem is keeping the other sides cool. Yeah, because as you can imagine, if you really, really heat this side of it, yeah, then the other side's just going to get hot too. So you've got to try and find a way. So either that's having ice in something to keep the other side cool, yeah, or something. Maybe a water cooling thing on one side and the other side up against the bucket. All sorts of options. But there was something that came out commercially, and it was like a USB Peltier thingy bob. Is it this? came out a while ago. Here we go. The first thermoelectric USB charger, look. This is what you're talking about. So this uses peltiers, yeah. There's nothing else on it, is it? But they had a little pot like that, and you cook it, and there's some peltiers in it, and it generates like electricity and stuff like that, right? But just don't. You got to be realistic, right? Just don't expect too much from it. Is the point? Chinese toothpaste will register nuclear radiation, says Amphin. No way, really? That's crazy. I really want to get a really good quality Geiger counter and do a load of testing for everyone, so I can let people know what the deal is, because there is a list of things that you can find, even some old toys that have a certain paint used, some watch faces where you've got the glow is made of something, not tritium, it's something else, but those watch dials, they can be highly radioactive. I have a few of them 2-inch. Oh, you got a couple of those peltiers, yeah? It's good to have a play with. Was working on a cycling water cooling loop. Yeah, I've built water cooling for PCs many times for clients and for myself and my son and things like that. So I'm super familiar with water cooling rigs, and that was part of what I was using this paint bucket tin thing for originally. Is got some brake hose, some copper brake hose from a car, and I was trying to see if I could get it to be a water heater with a spiral that went around. So you make a fire in the bucket, and there's like brake cable going all the way around the outside spiraling. Yeah, and water goes in and raises up because of the temperature increasing. But it's really difficult to get the diameter of the pipe right, because if it's too thin, then the heat gets so intense inside the pipe that it just basically turns to steam instantly. And it just sprays out of the pipe at the top, right? It's hot steam. So that works, but not. If you have the pipe too thick, then there's too much water in there, and it's just not going to bring up to temperature enough and stuff like that, yeah? Here we go, power pot. That's what I'm thinking. Is it a power pot, is it, that uses the peltier? It came out years ago, and I thought, they stole my idea. They stole my prototype. They didn't steal anything, but they obviously thought it was a good idea too. But I tested it, and I wasn't impressed with... that was my idea, is to do a pot like that. Yeah. So when I saw it come out, I thought, that's interesting. I wonder how they've managed to get more out of it than I did, because I had loads of peltiers all the way around it, and it was well unimpressive. 100 sheets. It's not 100 sheets, is it, really? You know. Oh, here's one. The BioLite. Is the BioLite one in it? So this is on Amazon, look. The BioLite is another one, where you got a little cookery thing in there, yeah. Cam stove. You see you got a charger down there? This is the one I was thinking of, BioLite. Yeah. So again, these like thermoelectric generators, you see? Make a little fire in there, and you get USB juice out of it. Amphir seems to think 5 watts. I don't know if that's 5 watts that you've tested or whether that's what it claims, but what does it say here? So 3 watts. Yeah. Award-winning passive combustion technology generates 3 watts. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. So this is why I bailed on my idea about 10 years ago, maybe more. 2011, I think it was, 2010-ish. Maybe 2012. I was playing around with them. And then this came out. I don't even know when the BioLite came out, but McDonald's wouldn't classify anything as food, absolutely. So Dave's Vive's got a decent Geiger counter. Yeah, I've seen one that I want on AliExpress. It's about £45 only. It's not amazing, but that's good. And it's got a nice display on it, better than the one that I've got. Oh, look, Daily Survivor's got a few rocks that register radiation. She keeps them outside, as would I. Power pot. Is that Power pot 5, Amphir, is it? Should we search for that then and see if we can see anything? Or is it Power pot V? Oh, that's interesting. Here we go. Power pot, thermoelectric generator. Charge your devices with heat. Is that what you're talking about? Must be, look, because it's got the 5 watt output there. Now, I will say the 5 watt is why I kind of bailed on my prototype. And then these guys came along and made something like that. But like I say, the one I first saw was the BioLite one. The BioLite was the one I first saw after I came out of my design. And I got about maybe 2 or 3 watts. And like I say, I had quite a few going around as well. Keeping it cool is the trick, right? And I was originally tried using the power coming from the Peltiers to run fans to cool the other side of the Peltiers, but it's just not efficient enough. It's really difficult to make something cold, right? While the other side's hot. So, and yeah, the thing I had ended up, I used a massive CPU fan, you know, heatsink on the side of the bucket. And that was the only time I managed to get 3 watts, 2.5 watts or 2.7 watts, I think was the maximum I ever got. And the reason I bailed on my idea, my design, was because 2.7 watts, this thing was massive, massive heatsink, right? 3 watts isn't going to do anything, right? Your iPhone charges at 10 watts, 15 watts, more than that. My iPad wants to charge at 40 watts. Yeah, at full chat, if you give it USB-C, PD, power delivery, it'll ramp up to 20 volt and charge it real quick. But these thermoelectric ones, 3 watts, 5 watts. Yeah, you'll charge a torch up in half a day or something, but think of how much burning of stuff you got to do. This is the problem. If it's only a small amount of power, it means you've got to provide that power for a long time. And trying to keep a fire burning and a thing like that for a long time and have to charge a phone up for several hours is like, really? So we've got to be realistic about, you know. So as the temperature of the water in the power pot increases, the Peltier loses efficiency. Yeah, exactly. Power drops away 2-3 watts. Yeah. So that was why for me it wasn't worth bringing to market, because it was like, what's anyone going to do 2.5-3 watts? I think I used about 6. That was with 6 Peltiers in series, and then a DC to DC conversion circuit at the other end of it, just to collect it all together, and you know. So yeah, got to be realistic. But anyway, we're running way over the 2-hour mark now, and well, no, that's 30 watt on top of the 35 watt that it's taking 24/7. You see. So it's still putting back what it's not putting back what it is, but my solar panels are flat on the roof. I've only propped them up on a stick. But I think that there's another issue. I think that there's a connector up there that's gone a bit dodge, to be honest, because I should be getting way more than that. So I need to be getting up there. It's just really difficult to get up and balance on a step ladder when it's freezing cold, right? And then be reaching right up and trying to mess around with cables and figuring out where the dodgy connector is. But I think maybe one of the connectors could have had some water get into it and corrode the connectors inside and reducing the conductivity a bit. I might even try putting them all in parallel as well, because of the way where the shadows are this time of year. It's just everything's going against it, yeah. So I'm keen to we're going to jump into the Sigma Prepper VIP after party, so please join me in there, because I was going to be going less than 2 hours today and we've been going more than 2 hours. But I'm going to be putting a show together for later in next week, early part of next week, where we're going to be doing quite a few things leading up to for Christmas. We want to be continuing the what's coming for 2023, what we need to get ready for, and I do think that the grid down scenarios is sort of the next thing that's going to bite us. So I'm keen to get as many sort of bits and pieces out there as quick as possible, including the Chinese diesel heater review and optimizations and modifications, which I'll hopefully be able to have some time over the weekend in between my other shows to be able to edit that together to have that uploaded, as well as more next week. So please subscribe if you're not already, and I really appreciate you spending this time with me this evening. Cheers, everybody. Sorry it wasn't too extravagant tonight, but like I say, I haven't really been feeling myself for the last week or two. I'm struggling, man, but I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm teetering on the edge of going into full-blown illness, but I think I'm gonna come out the other side. I've been stocking up on vitamin D, and like I say, I think I definitely am affected by the reduction in sunlight. I think I'm one of those people that gets quite heavily affected by that, because it just seems to be a pattern every year. I just want to hibernate. I have no energy. I'm not inspired. I'm just like, ugh. Everything's a struggle. But the last 2 days, I've been like getting the diesel heater running. I've been sawing, cutting, drilling, everything. I've been quite enjoyed it, actually. So thank you again to the VIPs. Thank you so much to those that helped Extreme Focus, again, Ultra VIP. Danger Bob as well, really appreciate your help with the diesel heater side of stuff. And thank you so much to our super chatterers tonight. Thank you for the Streamlabs. What an absolute, just a blinding bunch. Look, all 4 of your beauties, yeah. Wow, group hugs all round is what we want, group hugs. So talking of group hugs, we're going to get ourselves into the Discord after party, and so please join us over there if you're a VIP. If you're not a VIP, you can join up for as little as $5 a month. Link in description. Patreon.com/Sigma Prepper. Really appreciate your help. It's a great way to support the channel and all the work I'm looking to bring. And also, I was hoping for the new year, I'm planning to get the new preparedness pack ready to be dished out. So the VIPs will be getting that free anyway. So I'm hoping over the Christmas period, what I've decided to do is in that I'll probably have like a week where I'll try and spend every day developing the new version of the prediction tool. The virus prediction tool is already out there on the website, but the preparedness pack, Sigma Prepper preparedness pack, that's going to be something I'm going to be getting as much work done as possible and make that available, because 2023 is going to be the year. I can just feel it in my bones. Oh, all those 222 signs I've seen for, you know, how many years, 3-4 years maybe. I've seen the 2s everywhere. Maybe it was telling me that 2022 is your last year to get ready, Andy. And that goes for the rest of you too. So thank you to my family and my friends here of the Sigma Prepper. What a fine pack you are. And see you on Discord. Absolutely looking forward to it. Thank you, Connie. Really appreciate you. Such a wonderful friend. And right, so in the meantime, lots coming up. I need to get a lot of shows planned and prepped behind the scenes as well. Really looking forward to doing the security and protection one. Really looking forward to doing the vulnerable SHTF for vulnerable people and disabled people and things like that, which will include quite a few little tricks and tips. Plus, obviously, the Chinese diesel heater video. Plus, we've got guest live chat show coming up for Sigma Prepper as well. I'm getting that arranged. So I'm hoping 2023 is going to be the year. Thank you so much to the VIPs for helping me get this far. Couldn't have done it without you. Love to each and every one of you. And in the meantime, as we like to say, love, peace, and progress to our wonderful, beautiful pack. Nighty night, everybody. See you in the next one.